you have, I hope you enjoyed Barbara's session. That was really powerful. And if you were with us yesterday, we saw Amber and Melanie, who were also amazing. So, um, I wanted to introduce myself to you and tell you a little about myself, and then we're going to take you through a couple of exercises, and we're going to end with a little past life regression hypnosis. So I would like you to have a notepad and pen for that last portion. So if you don't have one, you can grab one at some point, and it's just to help you kind of remember what you experienced through the session. So if you don't have one, grab one at some point, and we'll be ready for that. So basically, my name is Kelie Chakowski, and I'm really excited to be here with you today. I am grateful for this opportunity to share information on Transform and Rise, which is my business that was born after I joined the Akashic Angel Healing Academy. Um, I also, after I joined AAHA, I really liked working with Amber, so I decided to join the Lightworker Luminaries Mastermind, and that has really put me on the path to building what I'm going to be launching this fall, which is a group learning course intertwined with hypnosis. So the acronym RISE in my name, Transform and Rise, stands for Release, Illuminate, Shift, and Elevate, which is achieved through different offerings. And all of this started for me following my first QHHT or quantum healing hypnosis technique session in 2023. As soon as I finished that session, I saw a puzzle piece click into place, and I was like, this is what I have to do. So I just learned more about Dolores Cannon, because Dolores Cannon was the person who perfected QHHT. She passed away in 2014, but she left a big legacy. So I signed up for the course to learn level 1 as soon as I could. I finished it in record time because it was my new passion, and I was really excited about it. So I signed up for level 2, and I worked through that as quickly as I could. So Dolores Cannon, if you don't know who she was an army wife in the 70s. Her husband had come back from Vietnam, and she wanted to help supplement the family's income. So she started doing weight loss and quit smoking hypnosis for army members and their wives. And one day she was working with this woman, and the woman went into 5 past lives. And she'd never seen this before. She had no clue what was going on, but she went with it, and she just asked the right questions, and she got a lot of information from this first session. So that's kind of how QHHT was born. And then over the next 45 years, she basically perfected it. She just tried different things and kept what worked and got rid of what didn't. And she came up with a really good and solid script. And that's what we still use today. She used to always say, if you want to twist your mind like a pretzel, read my books. And some of the things that started to happen in her sessions after that first past life woman, and this was in the 80s, she started to connect with Nostradamus. She connected with extraterrestrials. She connected with deceased loved ones. And there's 24 books that she wrote explaining what she learned in her sessions. So if that interests you, take a look at some of her books. Um, let me see here. So when I started doing QHHT, I was very excited about the whole past life regression and simple healing. I just wanted to work with people, do past life regressions, release their blocks, help them heal. And it was really wonderful. And my first, 30 sessions were great. And then I got somebody who started channeling an ET. And then I got someone who channeled 13 entities in their session, and stranger things kept happening. So I was like, maybe I should open my mind to this and just kind of go with it. And I have, and it's become a really amazing experience. I've worked with a lot of different people now, had over 65 sessions, and we have spoken to Sasquatch. We have spoken to the president. We have spoken to lost loved ones. We've spoken to a beautiful fairy named Claire, who gave us information from the other elemental realms and things. So you just never know what's going to happen. So I'm just enjoying the ride and kind of growing when I can. The big problem with QHHT is it's an in-person thing, and the QHHT Association or Dolores Cannon Foundation doesn't want us to do them online. So I was trying to figure out a way to do this work without making anybody mad. Oops. No, the spelling for Dolores is Dolores. There you go. And So I decided to combine a couple of modalities to try to create my own thing. And that's where the transform portion of my business name comes in. So I used to do transformational hypnosis, which is kind of intuitive hypnosis. And I did that for fun. I did that, started that about 7 or 8 years ago. And I thought I could wind it in with the QHHT. So I did. And I created my own little hybridized form of hypnosis that incorporates my intuition, the transformational hypnosis as well as the QHHT. I also learned a modality called BQH, which is beyond quantum healing. And I think that was another attempt at creating another way to offer quantum healing over the internet without interfering with the QHHT guidelines. Excuse me. So that's kind of what I did. And it's worked pretty well. I've used it on a few friends. It's fairly new, but it does work well and it is possible to do it over Zoom. So that's kind of what I'm focusing on right now. And then, of course, joining Lightworker Luminaries with Amber, it gave me the tools to recalibrate everything and to try to create more. So that's why I'm working on this online course that I'm building right now. And I am skipping all over my notes, so bear with me one second. So when I took the AHA, the Akashic Angel Healing Academy, I learned how to read Akashic Records. And I also discovered that I channel intuitively. So a lot of people might know this. I didn't, but I would be working with somebody in a reading, and then all of a sudden, I would just start having things come out of my mouth that weren't me. And I learned that that was my higher self and my guides offering input to the people I was working with. And it was really cool because my conscious mind couldn't step in the way and mess everything up. So I kept going with it. And then I learned a little bit more about channeling. And then I learned that I can channel another entity, and he comes through my mouth and he speaks with an Indian accent. So I know it's not me. So that's been kind of wild, and that's still fairly new. So I'm working on perfecting that. But you just never know where you're going to end up when you start opening these doors. So my advice to you is to just keep growing, keep learning, keep looking at different things, because you just never know what's going to happen and what you're going to learn. So I just want everybody to know that exactly, stay curious, Amber, Melanie, or whoever that is. So every step today, every step that you take brings you closer to your higher self. And remember, the journey isn't about perfection. It's about progress. It's about choosing to move forward even when it's uncomfortable. And hi, Paula, you're welcome for the great QHH2 session. Um, so because growth doesn't come from doing what you already know, it comes from stepping into what you never thought you could do. Like me, I thought I was just going to do past life regressions and help people heal. And here I am talking to aliens and all kinds of other things. So you just never know. So I'm going to tell you my personal story, which is a little bit sordid and crazy, but I wanted to share it with you so that you can see it doesn't matter where you come from or what you're going through. Everybody can do whatever they want to. There's no limits to what you can accomplish, no matter where you come from or don't. Everybody gets a second chance, a third chance, whatever. So my personal journey has given me something invaluable. It's been the ability to relate to everybody, no matter their circumstances. I have lived a very interesting life, and it has kept me on the move. I have had more than 125 jobs, from working in stables, cleaning stalls, to deep sea charter fishing, to wearing a suit in corporate America, because I was a secretary for a very long time. I have moved my home an average of every 3 years for the past 30 years, which is as long as I've lived in Florida. I was born in rural Ohio, and I'm always learning and growing. And by the way, the moving isn't always by choice. Sometimes it's just the universe going, okay, time to go. There's new adventures for you around the corner. And they do send me on a lot of adventures. So I wanted to share some of the things that I've learned with you that have really helped me to improve my situation. And I just recently learned that I had I'll call it a slow motion near death experience. My organs were revolting from the toxicity that I had filled my body with over the years. My younger life, I spent drinking too much, partying, having a ball all the time. I did struggle with a cocaine addiction for 3 years, and I was fortunate to have Spirit step in and help me beat that without any outside intervention, other than a lot of people being mad at me, which was justified. I worked too much. I worked too hard. I wasn't drinking enough water, and I had a really bad diet. I lived in drive-through windows. I didn't drink, near enough liquid other than alcohol, which just dehydrates your body. So basically, my kidneys were the first organs to warn me. That was when I began suffering from kidney stones. That was around 1996. So it came and went for about 15 years before I got the message to drink more water. And that's because the last kidney stone I had, which was cost me an ambulance trip. I actually had to take an ambulance to the hospital because it was so bad that my doctor finally said, you need to drink water or this is going to continue to happen. So that was a big light bulb for me because who knew? Um, we didn't push drinking water like we do today. So that was a learning experience. Then my liver was struggling to do its job, which is filter your blood, because it was so toxic from my lifestyle of fast food and alcohol. My stomach and intestines were revolting, and I suffered horrible GERD or gastroesophageal reflux disease, where I was vomiting acid. My throat was so burned from the acid, I was warned about getting a thing called Barrett's esophagus, which is like the precursor to throat cancer. So I had to do something quickly. I did take Prilosec for years, but it wasn't enough. It did more damage than it did good for me. And I finally learned, thank God, that I had to change my diet. And once I changed my diet, I don't have to worry about that anymore. So I'm very fortunate to have learned these detoxing protocols. I'm going to share some of them with you to just help people understand that we might think we're healthy, but we're not as healthy as we think we are because we're so misled by what's going on out there and what information is shared with us. So then it was around 2010. I was a police officer and I felt something funny in my right side. And my intuition said, that's your appendix. So I went home and I got out of my uniform and I went to the hospital. And as soon as the doctor looked at me and he took a CAT scan, he's like, we're going to surgery right now. I'm like, right now? He's like, right now. So they took me into surgery. As soon as they cut me open, my appendix burst. And the poison from the appendix spread throughout my body cavity and it shut down my bowel, which is called ileus. So when your bowel shuts down, and I don't know if any of you know this, but there's little fingers that wiggle all the time that kind of keep things moving down there. And when those little fingers stop moving, it's the most icky feeling in the world. Like I would drink a sip of water, not a whole bunch, just a sip, and it would sit in my throat. It didn't even feel like it could go down my esophagus. So it was, is it your esophagus? Yeah, whatever pipe goes down to your stomach. So it felt like it was sitting like right where my voice box is. It was the worst thing. It was 8 days. I was in the hospital. I was hooked to IVs and I couldn't eat because obviously, you don't want to eat in that state. So for 8 days, I had to march next to my bed because they wouldn't let me take my IV pole down the hallway. I had to march next to my bed to try to get my body to wake up. And it slowly did. But that cost me to miss my little brother's wedding, which was heartbreaking. So, you just never know. And this all happened to me because I had no idea how to take care of myself and what I had to do to stay healthy or that I wasn't healthy. I thought I was healthy. I was, in pretty good physical shape and everything, but it wasn't enough. So the detoxification that I learned about happened again by chance, like everything does. And I attended this seminar where this guy was presenting information about detoxifying your body and how you can heal your body without the medical system. And I still swear by his practices. He's very interesting. And he taught me a lot. And so then I decided I wanted to write a book about my whole life, outlining my crazy adventures and all that's happened to me and how I fixed it and how I healed, and outlining my spiritual awakening and my healing journey. And so I wrote it, but the manuscript was really long and it was going to be like a Gone with the Wind kind of a thing. So I had to cut it in half. So I didn't get to publish the whole story, which is kind of good because all of this will be in it now because there's much more to write about it. But I did write about the first half of my life, which was kind of the crazy things I did. It talks about my addiction and how I got over that. And it talks about my first 2 marriages. So it's kind of an adventure, crazy memoir story. I published that. And I didn't want to publish it alone, but I had to because it was just time and spirit was telling me to get it out. So it's out. It's called To the Beach, Cut Ties and Run. And it is on Amazon and everything. So it's been great. People have been reading it and sharing my story and understanding what I went through because it tells everybody how I grew up, why I am the way I am, and the things that I experienced as a bullied child whose parents didn't help her when her sister was bullying her and continued to throughout my entire life. and just different struggles that I went through. But it was a very healing, thank you, Paula. It was a very healing transformation for me. It took me about 5 years total to write it, but about 2 years of intense work on it. And it was very healing for me because I relived all those old hurts and I was able to see them from my new lens, and I was able to let a lot of that stuff go. What I couldn't let go on my own, I received help with through different healers, and it was a really cathartic experience for me. So the second book I'm going to have out hopefully next year. I'm really pushing for it, but it's going to outline all of this stuff because it's going to have the really strong spiritual story that is my life now, because I've really done a complete 180. So that's something that I'm still working on. Writing a book is a lot of work. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. And even if you self-publish or just put it out on Amazon, just you have to edit it like 400,000 times because there's always another word that is spelled wrong that you're going to see. So, and I was kind of mad because my self-publisher, my book is sold as a print on demand, and there's a misspelled word on the back cover, which just drives me absolutely crazy, like my perfectionism, like Barbara was talking about earlier. So it's a big process. It was a lot of work, but it was a labor of love. So I'm glad it's over, and I can't wait till the second one's done because I'm not going to write any more books. But anyway, as I mentioned earlier, my breakthrough came through AAHA when I was in Akashic Angel Healing Academy. And when I started channeling everything and helping others in readings, that was a really big eye-opening experience for me. So I like skipped all over the place, so bear with me because this is my first time presenting. So I hope I'm not too fumbly and driving you crazy. So the reason I left, I don't want to say corporate America. I left corporate America and I went into law enforcement, and I was in law enforcement for 16 years. So I ended that career in 2020. And I want to tell you this story because it outlines how, like Melanie told us yesterday, she wasn't listening when Spirit was telling her to rest, and she fell in the ditch and broke her foot. So she had to rest to let her foot heal. So this is kind of a story like that. And I want to share this with you because I feel like a lot of us have these experiences, but just aren't aware of them at the time. So I'm hoping that this will give you a little guidance and you can kind of watch for this, or if you've experienced your own already, you can share it in the chat and kind of let me know that you've had that happen, because it was a huge turning point in my life. So I was a woman in a man's line of work. I had survived there for 11 years. And although I knew my career in commercial trucking law enforcement was long over, I refused to quit. I was too attached to the paycheck. So that was before my spiritual awakening happened. And it was a really hard lesson for me because I was learning it without any apparent guidance. I was miserable. I was in poor health because that's when my appendix burst. That was like my second year as a cop when my appendix burst. And then I was hateful. I was bitter, but I didn't want to give up my paycheck and everything that I had built because I had made myself Florida's go-to public speaker for education in the areas of federal and state trucking laws. So the division I worked in, there were 20 of us in the whole state of Florida. And we educated all of the trucking companies that were newly founded in the state of Florida. And I ended up being the one pushed to the front of the line to be the public speaker because I have a big mouth. So the universe had been giving me signs that it was time to leave, but I resisted. It had even opened doors to other opportunities for me, such as hypnosis and real estate, but I treated them as hobbies. I was really afraid to give up my paycheck because I felt like I had no cushion if I failed, and I wasn't willing to take that chance. So those were founded in my limiting beliefs about worthiness, like Barbara just talked about, and money stemming from my childhood because we struggled. My father was on disability, so we struggled in my childhood. So I'm very attached to the whole money thing, or I was. So then the unthinkable thing happened. My integrity, which is the most valuable thing in the world to me, was under attack by the very men that tried to run me off when I began my career 11 years earlier. But now they had backup. So they were really coming at me because they just wanted to run me off because they didn't like that I wanted to do a good job and I cared about doing a good job. They just wanted statistics and numbers, and they didn't care how it was achieved. So what they did was create false narratives around some inconsequential events, like a conversation in a hallway. And they managed to create an internal affairs investigation against me because they took these innocent happenings of me talking to someone in a hallway and turned them into these big battles and fights and made it look like I was being really out of line and unprofessional in what I was doing. And that wasn't at all what it was. So, anyway, their whole investigation was a big joke. Everybody that looked at it outside of the investigation was just appalled by the blatant BS that they put in it, but it didn't matter. It was the universe telling me it was time to go, and I wasn't listening, and they were going to intervene. So I ended up getting suspended for a week without pay over all this bullshit. Then a second investigation was announced because one of the parts of the investigation was a guy I wrote a ticket to. I wrote him a ticket for wearing two earbuds in his ears, even though he was breaking other traffic laws and I was cutting him a break. But he didn't see that, and he wrote a complaint letter because I yelled at him on the side of the road. Um, I just told him that he was backing up traffic for 3 miles and it wasn't his place to do that. So that was my yelling at him. But I got him a penalty of 8 hours of driving school in traffic court. So because he didn't show up for court, he thought I was in cahoots with the judge, and the judge and I created this, excessive punishment for him, but he didn't realize that it was because he was of what he was doing. So he filed a second, he filed a complaint, and then they opened a second investigation. And I was like, this is ridiculous. This is just, I've never had issues. I've, gotten commendation letters from the government as a police officer. And now I've got this guy who was pissed off because I wrote him a ticket, and now he's going to ruin my life. So while this was all going on, I was in what we call active shooter training. And you've all seen how they, when there's an active shooter in a school, the police officers have to have special gear and special training and all that. So we were in that training. And in that training, we had been issued 40-pound lead vests to wear so that rifle rounds couldn't shoot us if we were in that situation. And we had to wear those 40-pound vests in this training. So we were running through a building and trying to clear the room. And I twisted my knee several times. And by the end of the day, I was limping. So my intuition was basically yelling at me, going, file a report, file a report. So I did. I filed what we call a first report of injury, which is an introduction to workers' compensation. So I went to the hospital. They placed me on light duty. And with the universe's blessing, I was on light duty for 5 months because of a sprained knee. That does not happen normally. So I was protected. And I was able to stay out for 5 months, which gave me time to get my real estate work going and my hypnosis going, and gave me an opportunity to open a new door. So as soon as my 5-month recovery period ended, my doctor was like, I can't keep you out of work anymore. I was like, I get it. Thank you for what you've done. And I went in and I turned in my gear the next day. So I quit my job. I was 1.5 years away from my official retirement date. So I didn't lose my pension, but I just took a reduced pension. But I didn't care. I was done at that point. I was done being treated like crap, and I walked away. So now I wake up every day. I am connected to my purpose. I am listening to my body's wisdom. I receive guidance from my higher self, and there is just so much magic you cannot even believe it. I am constantly getting signs from the angels. I see 1111 twice a day, every day, pretty much. It shows up on my clock. I see feathers. I get pennies and dimes. I see birds. There's all these different signs I get. So the angels are always telling me that they're with me, and I am very grateful for that. So does anyone have anything like that that's ever happened to them, that they got kicked in the butt by the universe and had to change direction? Oh, 1111's your birthday. That's awesome. See, you are my angel number, Paula. Okay, so before we dive in, I'm going to set the stage. Melody, just 2 marriages. Yeah, I'm on number 3, Melody. And third time is a charm. Christine, you got fired from your job? Oh, I thought you said you got fired from your job yesterday. Breast cancer and appendicitis. Oh my God. Regularly, Jane. So you guys know, you get it. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. No, it's when that universe wants you to know something, they will let you know. Dolores Cannon actually shared a story about a woman who had fallen down the stairs and broken her leg. and she was in the hospital for 6 weeks. And when she had her session with Dolores, they asked, why did she fall down the stairs? And the universe, her higher self told her, well, we were telling her that she needed to take a rest and she wouldn't listen to us. So now she's stuck with 8 weeks of bed rest, which is like Melanie's story with her foot yesterday. So it definitely, it will definitely intervene if we don't listen. So try to listen so you don't have that happen to you. So, what we're going to experience together today, I'm going to guide you through 3 topics, and they're going to not only expand your knowledge, but they're going to truly elevate your energy, your awareness, and your connection to your higher self. So, first, we're going to dive into body detoxification and maintenance. Our body's the vessel that carries our soul through this lifetime. We have to think of it as beautiful, as a beautiful home that needs regular cleaning and care. So over time, we accumulate things we don't need, from the foods we eat, the air we breathe, and the stress in our daily lives. And that all takes a toll. So we have to learn how to manage that. I'm going to share simple, gentle ways to help your body release what doesn't serve it anymore. We're going to talk about incorporating movement that feels good, not punishing exercise, but joyful movement that helps your body stay healthy. And then next, we're going to look at the incredible power of stillness, which most of you probably know, but I'm going to share it with you anyway, because I'm sure there's somebody that will benefit from something I will share. So in our busy world, we've forgotten how to be quiet. But when we learn to sit in stillness, something magical happens. We begin to raise our vibration. And yes, we can all use more stillness. So I'm going to share a little bit of stillness with you. And I want you to think of vibration like the energy you carry within you. When it's high, you feel lighter, more positive, more connected to everything around you. And that is exactly where you want to live as much as possible, because high vibrational living not only keeps you feeling good, but it keeps you healthy, and it fights off disease and illness. And then finally, we're going to take a gentle journey into your past through visualization. Our past holds treasures, wisdom, healing, and understanding that can transform how we see ourselves today. So, through guided exercises, we'll safely explore memories and experiences that can help you understand patterns, release old hurts, and discover strengths that you might have forgotten that you have. So by the end of our time together, you'll leave with practical, grounded tools that you can begin to use right away. Tools that'll support your physical wellness, raise your vibration, and deepen your spiritual connection. Does anyone have any questions about anything we've covered so far? You can throw them in the chat or unmute. Perfect. Here we go. So every single day, your body is exposed to toxins, from the processed foods that we eat to the pollutants in our environment. It's really easy to become overwhelmed by the reality of it, because I did. But here's the good news. Small, consistent, loving changes can make a profound difference. One of the easiest things to do is to start by choosing foods that love you back. Fresh, whole, nutrient-dense foods that energize you rather than drain you. So how many of you have noticed that all of the good stuff in the grocery store is on the outside edge, and all of the fun, dangerous stuff is on the inside? Yes, everybody. I know, I learned that, and I was kind of surprised at that, but then I walked in and I started to notice, I was like, yeah, they're right. All the stuff I should be eating. So I try to shop on the outside edge. I try to stay out of the middle. And one of the things, let me see. One of the things that can really help you to improve your health with your food, or your relationship with your food, is to learn to read your labels. Understand what they mean. Understand that if the product in your hand has a bunch of ingredients that you don't have in your pantry, put it back. It's not going to help you. It's not going to serve your body. So learning to read labels and understand food sourcing is an act of self-respect. Don't assume that companies have your health in mind, because quite frankly, they do not. All they are worried about is making money. When I started to learn to read labels, I learned that I saw these different like natural, like all natural peanut butter. What does that mean? And I started to look into it and I was like, natural and healthy are these trick words that the marketing industries have created to make you think that you're getting a better quality of product. There might be a small standard tied to natural or healthy, but it's so minuscule, it's not going to make a difference for you. We have non-GMO now. Hold on, I'm seeing a message here. Shop at Trader Joe's if you have one. The aisles in the middle have products that don't have a lot of ingredients. That is true. I love Trader Joe's and I do have one close. My problem with Trader Joe's is they don't use a lot. There's hard to find organic products there. And one of the big things I learned when I started to learn about nutrition and food was that corn, wheat, and soy are all genetically modified because Monsanto makes the farmers, their commodity crops, whatever, Monsanto makes them use genetically modified so that they can spray the crops with Roundup to help them ripen faster, like in the wheat's case. And they use it on soybeans, which is where I grew up. There was a soybean field across from us, and they'd spray that. Big tractor would come through with these tanks full of stuff, and the next day all the weeds would be gone and just the soybeans were left. We had no idea what it was. That was happening all through the 70s and 80s where I grew up. But now basically what they do is they genetically modify them so that they can spray the crops with Roundup to remove the weeds, and you're getting Roundup filled corn, Roundup filled soy, Roundup filled wheat. So if you have somebody who's got a gluten allergy or a gluten sensitivity, try to move or make sure that you're giving them organic products, because that Roundup is the cause of a large majority of the sensitivities that people have with their food, because that didn't exist in the 60s and 70s. Because our bodies are so filled with toxins and kind of think of it as a clogged filter. These products are like, there's a documentary called Common Grounds that talks about there being Roundup in the urine of 7 to 10-year-old children, because people just don't understand that, yes, you can buy a loaf of bread, but if it's not organic, it's got Roundup in the wheat. So you've got to think back to your product sourcing for what your products are made of. So that's why I love Trader Joe's, but I always try to find the organic stuff when I'm in there, because my body has been so toxified. I have to be super careful, because although I've been detoxifying for about 10 years now, I still have a long way to go. And if I get off track and I start to go back to that food that I ate before, my body notices it's a big deal for me. So I've got to be really careful. And then, yeah, dairy free. You've also got to watch for the hormones in the dairy. Like one of the things I see, like in eggs, they have cage free eggs, and everyone thinks, oh, that's great, they're cage free. But they're really not, because they're still factory farm chickens. They're still raised on a mesh metal floor, and they're just moving around instead of in little individual cages. There was a documentary that came out in 2001 called Food Inc., like Food Incorporated. And if you watch that, it will explain a lot of this. That's where I learned a lot of this. So this, like, again, this isn't new, but our marketing techniques in the food industry are very creative. So they like to hide a lot of things from us. They want us to assume that cage free is a good thing. And I heard the people at Trader Joe's going, oh, we get cage free eggs now. And I was like, woof, give me the pasture raised. Thank you. So just stuff that you can learn about on your own, educate yourself on what non-GMO, cage-free, humanely raised, because even humanely raised has levels of humanely raised. Oh, it's humanely raised, but it's in a factory farm, and then there's like 5 levels of it if you go to Whole Foods. It's crazy. So educate yourself so that you know what you're putting in your body, and you know what you're feeding your children, because it's just so important right now. And another thing I've learned is, there's a lot of products that are labeled non-GMO, and they're not organic. And I didn't notice it at first. And I was like, huh. So non-GMO is great, but if it's not organic, it's still being sprayed with pesticides. So you have to, again, they're tricking us with these labels. So you've got to, really pay attention and read. So it's a very important distinction to be organic versus non-GMO. So organic products are regulated by federal standards. And I actually read the federal standard, which is about that long, and it talks about what they can and cannot do. So they cannot have genetically modified foods that are called organic. But you still have to understand what everything is. Another thing I noticed is you can buy organic chicken or turkey products, and they'll say the turkey is fed a vegetarian diet. Well, that's great, but turkeys are carnivores. So are chickens. They're supposed to eat worms and bugs. So feeding them a vegetarian diet isn't always in their highest interest. So again, educate yourself. And hopefully you do have farmers markets around you. We don't have a lot of those here in Florida. We're fortunate we have a Trader Joe's and a Whole Foods. But yeah, farmers markets are definitely your best bet because you want that local food. So did you know many chronic illnesses are directly linked to what we eat? And as you learned earlier, changing my diet probably saved my life, or at least saved me from a life of illness. And yes, feeding your chicken snakes, that's awesome. Um, do you know that even after all I described above, with all my issues and my stuff that I went through, I do not take any prescription medications other than my plant-based hormone replacement therapy, and I'm 58 years old. So that's a big accomplishment. I don't I don't deal with blood pressure medicine or high blood pressure or any of that kind of stuff because I'm very monitored in what I'm working on. So strive for that. And don't, I had a doctor one time, I was 53 and I went in and he said, "You're not on high blood pressure medicine?" And I said, "No, I'm not. I don't have high blood pressure." And he said, "That's really surprising because everybody that's 50 years old has high blood pressure." And it disgusted me. And of course, I would never go back to a doctor like that. But that's how manipulated our world is and our system is. So look out for your own best interests. Educate yourself so that you know how to act and you know what you need and you know what works for you because nobody else is going to do that for you. So again, like a little tips: eliminate processed and fast food. The ingredients are not nutritious and they clog your intestines, causing toxins to build up in your system even more. And yes, Melanie, trauma, doctors are great for trauma and emergencies, and that's it. That's what they were originally intended for. So I'm going to share another tip with you you may or may not know. In 1902 or 1906, I can't remember the year, the American Medical Association was founded. And of course, as all organizations newly founded, they're looking for money. So John D. Rockefeller stepped up and said, "I will fund you. However, you will not teach anything about plant-based medicine. You will not teach anything about healing or like natural healing techniques or holistic healing, or I will pull my funding." So back then, in the early 1900s is when all of this started, where holistic healing and plant medicine and herbal remedies became blackballed because of money. So keep that in mind next time you make a doctor's appointment. And like I said, educate yourself. There's a lot of alternatives out there for you, but make sure it works for you. So I'm reading about Georgia. You had Hashimoto's and healed it with food and movement. Awesome. The doctor told me there's no way it was true. Yeah, a lot of the doctors, you can't be mad at the doctors though. It's not their fault. They don't know. They're not taught this information in medical school because again, the AMA is funded by Rockefeller. Rockefeller also has royalties constantly coming in because petroleum products, which is what John D. Rockefeller founded, he was, BP originally, uh, every prescription drug you take has a petroleum-based product in it, and his foundation gets a royalty from that. So keep that in mind when they want to give you thyroid medicine and all this other stuff. There's other things that you can do. And if anyone has questions, you can always email me. I will share what I know with you. I'm always happy to teach people and share what I know. So yeah, antibiotics, you can take essential oils and not have to use antibiotics. There's millions of things. So like I said, if anybody has any questions or anything, you can always email me or go on my website and contact me. I'm happy to share what I know. So many of the soaps, lotions, toothpaste, shampoos, and conditioners and hair products we use contain ingredients that are harmful to our bodies. Some even harm your scalp and cause hair loss. And this is the shampoos and conditioners we're using. So did you know that fluoride is related to calcifying our pituitary gland, which is known as the master gland of our bodies? It regulates many hormonal functions, including growth, metabolism, thyroid function, and reproductive health. Do you know that our country and the in vitro fertilization is more rampant here than anywhere else because we are so contaminated with food and bad juju? And not only is fluoride in toothpaste, but many municipalities put fluoride in their drinking water. This has become a subject of increased discussion, and recently the state of Utah was reported to be the first state in the country to make adding this toxin to drinking water illegal, which is awesome. Yes, go Utah. So here's something else you may not know. If you struggle with strong body odor, it's often a sign of high internal toxicity. And ironically, many conventional antiperspirant deodorant products are designed to mask the odor, which is not what we need, and stop our bodies from detoxifying by blocking your perspiration. And that's how our body gets rid of toxins is by sweat and perspiration. So we're blocking that. And then these products are actually toxic themselves. So something I learned 30 years ago that I tell everybody about, they think I'm crazy, but I don't care. I'm going to tell you anyway. There's a thing called salt crystal deodorant. It's basically a chunk of salt, looks like a quartz crystal. You put it in your shower and you get it wet and you put like 30 to 40 strokes on each arm or wherever you need your odor protection. And it works perfectly. It works better than any product you will buy. It's not toxic and it's cheap. It's like $5 or $6 for one. It lasts you for a year. So if you do nothing else, stop using that chemical deodorant that has all those scents and all those other chemicals, aluminum and everything else in it, and try that for your body. And I also wanted to teach you one more thing. Um, I want you to all set an intention to work yourself up to drinking 1 liter or 4 1/4 cups of warm water with lemon first thing in the morning every day. It will, it hydrates your digestive tract. The warm water and lemon encourages the production of bile and digestive enzymes, as well as hydrating the gut and aiding in breaking down food to improve nutrient absorption, aiding the liver in detoxification. It helps to hydrate your body and flush your intestines, which allows you to eliminate properly, avoiding constipation, which is something a large part of our country suffers from. And for Krista, for how much lemon? I just squeeze like a half a lemon into my liter. A half a lemon is good. If you want to use the bottled lemon juice, just put a little glug in there. You don't have to measure. But yes, and Melanie, the how do you say that? Celtic or Celtic salt? I think Barbara's the one we
I'm
should ask.
Irish, so I'm the expert. No.
Yes,
I say Celtic,
Celtic. Okay, I say
but
Celtic
I'm
too.
probably wrong.
I never know. And Barbara lives in Ireland, so
Right. I'm right, Barbara?
yep. Celtic. Perfect. I will remember that. There's a
Yeah,
lot of bars,
because
you
yeah,
see the Celtic bar names in them. I don't know what they're saying. But yeah, the Celtic salt is a great thing to also add. Put a pinch in there, and you can put them both in there. But I'm going to tell you, this will make a world of difference in your body. Um, your teeth get fuzzy. Yeah, that's okay. Try lime though. Lime's good too because anything bitter will help activate your liver enzymes. There's actually products you can buy called bitters, not the bitters you use at the bar to make cocktails, but there's it's a liver promotion. It promotes your liver to make or to produce enzymes, and it's a bitters thing. And you put them in your mouth, and they taste awful, and you swallow them, and it helps your liver actually. It kicks your liver into motion so that it detoxifies more easily. Um, but it's a really good thing for you. It's a really good practice. And I also learned after the kidney stones that if I drank, they said 2 glasses, but I say drink a liter because you're never going to drink too much water. Drink it before bedtime too. And if you don't want the lemon, then you don't have to do that. But drink water before you go to bed because it will help you avoid kidney stones in the future. And I make sure I drink it in the morning, in the evening, and throughout the day. But it does really make a difference in your body's function. So, an easy rule of thumb to know how much to hydrate is to take your body weight in pounds, divide it in half, and then drink that many ounces of water per day, at least that many ounces. That's not a, steadfast rule. It's just something that I learned to kind of give me an idea of how much water I should be drinking for my body. And I'm just reading comments. Darlene says, I use lime and fruit is the first thing I eat every day. Coming out of a fasting state is very cleansing. Absolutely. That is why the meal is called break fast, because you're breaking your fast and you should do it as gently as possible. So, a clean and nourished body becomes a sacred vessel, one that allows your higher self and spiritual guidance to flow through with clarity and ease. So listen to your body. When it expresses fatigue, cravings, pain, or even emotional patterns, it's communicating that something is out of balance. And the next thing I want to talk, I see we're getting close to time. I'm not going to keep you much over 8. It might be a few minutes, but it won't be much over. So I'm going to push through and we'll get to the fun stuff. Movement. You got to move your body. Your lymphatic system, which is a detoxifying system of your body, functions purely by muscle movement. Unlike our circulatory system, which is pumped by the heart, the lymphatic system has to be, it moves only when you move your muscles. So you're not going to be removing toxins from your lymphatic system unless you are moving your body. So everybody should try to walk at least 30 minutes a day. If you go for a nice walk, go out in nature so you can ground. Get yourself outside so you can breathe some fresh air, listen to some silence, because silent and listen contain the exact same letters, just rearranged. I learned that from Dr. Wayne Dyer, who's one of my all-time heroes. I love listening to him and learning from him, but he taught that. And along with, keeping your body clean, you have to keep your body healthy by moving. And even if you're not a person that goes to the gym and exercises, you still have to move your body so that you can help work everything out. When I working with QHHT, I learned that a lot of physical maladies that people have are caused by lack of movement. You're not moving your body. You're not moving that ick out of your body. You're not releasing your emotions. So movement, clean eating, clean living are the first two steps to help you have a stronger connection with spirit. And now I'm going to lead you through a little bit of a grounding exercise, a little calming grounding exercise. I know Barbara did it too, but we're going to do another one just so that you can, after all that stuff I just threw at you, kind of ground yourself a little bit. So I want you to settle into your seats, and I want you to take a deep breath in, and I want you to slowly blow it out of your mouth. Some people release it with a sigh. So you can breathe in deeply and then the sigh really helps you make it more effective. It helps you release a little bit more. So then let your eyes gently close, knowing you're in a safe space as you begin to bring your awareness inward. Feel the weight of your body resting on the surface of wherever you are. Let yourself be fully supported by that surface. Now, imagine strong and steady roots extending from the base of your spine and the soles of your feet, reaching deep, deep, deep into the earth, anchoring you in safety, in stability, and in strength. With every breath, feel yourself becoming more grounded, more supported, more present. Inhale calm. Exhale anything that no longer serves you. Take one more deep breath. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes, fully experiencing being grounded, centered, and supported. So now, that was the first step of another method I like to use called ground, clear, and protect. So once you get grounded, and you saw that was a quick 30-second, 45-second little meditation, you can literally close your eyes, imagine the roots going down into the earth, and you can get this accomplished in about 10 or 15 seconds. So this is something you can do when you're on the fly, when you're in a hurry. It's just something that you can do quickly to get yourself grounded, because I'm one of those people that always needs to reground. So next I'm going to teach you how to clear your energy field, which is a tool that's very useful in releasing energy that doesn't belong to you. So what I want you to do is imagine that you're going to pick one of the elements: earth, wind, fire, or water. I'm sorry. Yeah, earth, wind, fire, or water. I'm used to the band name. Pick whatever resonates with you. So I like fire. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be imagining a disc of fire around my ankles, and it's slowly rotating and spinning around. And then as I intend to clear, it starts to move up my body, rotating up my body and clearing all of the energy that doesn't belong to me. When my disc reaches my head, it goes up off of my head and it burns off any excess energy that does not belong to me. And if you're choosing water, you can wash it away. Earth transmutes the energy and wind blows it away. But whatever you want to work with, whatever resonates with you, that's a really good quick clearing method that you can do. It's like it's 3 seconds long and it helps you clear energy very quickly and very efficiently. So once you're grounded and clear, it's time to protect yourself. I use a white pyramid of light forming around your entire body. See it surrounding you, and you can even have it surround your home or your car. Dolores Cannon swore that when she surrounded her car with the white pyramid of light, it never broke down. So that's always something you can remember. But you want it to completely encase you, your car, your home, or whatever you're blessing within its beautiful white light. The pyramid becomes your shield, repelling negativity and inviting peace, clarity, and divine guidance. And ask for the light to remain around you all day. This protection allows you to stay in a higher vibrational state, which of course boosts your well-being. So then we're going to jump to our past life regression. This is a condensed version, and it's obviously not the kind I would do if I were working with you one-on-one, because that's a much more deep trance. So what we're going to do is, if you have your note paper and pencil, when you're finished, I'm going to have you write down what you remember. That's the purpose of the note paper, or you can type it on your computer or whatever works for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to guide you through 2 visualization exercises to kind of get you warmed up. And then I will take you through the past life and I will talk you through it. Just relax and go with it and see what you get. So I want to give you some advice to start. Basically, trust what you see or know. Not everybody sees a video moving through their, through their vision. You might have an idea that you see something and just let it develop for you. So don't try to force thoughts to come to you. Don't try to create what you're going to see. Just kind of allow the picture to form in your mind. And then once the picture forms in your mind, then look around and explore, and you will see that the rest of your senses will start to pick up on smelling things and hearing things and feeling vibrations. So allow your intuition to work on this. It's like a daydream. If your conscious mind tries to jump in and tries to say, oh, this isn't working, this is stupid, that's part of it. That's absolutely normal. And just say, okay, and let it step to the side, and it will just eventually quiet down, because your conscious mind is going to act like a chattering toddler. So you just want to allow it to relax and let it sit aside, and then it eventually will allow you to have the experience. So trust whatever you see or comes to you first. Don't question it, and see what happens. So the first 2 exercises I'm going to give you instructions to visualize something, and then I'll give you about 10 or 15 seconds to kind of process the scene. Then I'll move you to the next scene, and then I'll have you come back to the room and reopen your eyes, and then we'll go into the past life regression. Okay, so everybody, close your eyes, and you're standing on the corner of a very busy street in a big city. There's lots of traffic, there's lots of noise, a lot of things going on. See a scene and fill it full of lots of details, sounds, sights, smells, as you're standing on the corner of a busy street in a big city. Now, leave that scene, and you're standing in a train station. on the platform of a train station. There's a train coming down the tracks. You can see it. You can hear it. Try to feel the vibration of the platform as the train comes closer and pulls into the station. You're standing on the platform watching a train come in. Now gently open your eyes and remember what you saw and experienced. Remember how it felt, and you can apply that same feeling to our next exercise. Okay, everybody, are you ready? Perfect. So we're going to close our eyes again, and I want you to relax and allow the pictures to come. Again, trust whatever you see first and don't question it. I want you to see the outside of the place where you live. Your house, apartment, whatever it is. You see this every day. See the outside of the place where you live. Now, go into the place where you live. See the door, how you go in, and go into the place where you live. What is the first room that you come to? What is in that room? Now, go into the kitchen. Where is the stove located? Where is the refrigerator located? Where do you eat your meals? Now, go into the bedroom where you sleep. The bedroom where you sleep. What furniture is in that room? Fill it full of details. What furniture is located in that room, the room where you sleep? Now, look at the walls of the room. Find a wall that does not have a door in it. A wall in the room that does not have a door. Now make a door in the wall. Make a door appear in the wall that normally does not have a door. Now open the door. When you open the door, you see steps going down, down in front of you. Walk down the steps. At the bottom of the steps is a long hallway going away from you. A long hallway. Walk down the hallway. There's enough light that you can see where you're going. Walk down the hallway. In the distance, you can see at the end of the hallway, there's an opening. You can see light down there. There's an opening at the end of the hallway. Walk toward that opening. Walking down the hallway toward the opening at the end. Now you have reached the opening at the end of the hallway, and you're standing in front of the opening. This is the doorway, the opening to the past. You know when you step through that opening, you will be in another time, another place, another lifetime where there is information for you. Step through the opening. Now you have stepped through the opening. Notice, are you inside or are you outside? Become aware of your surroundings. Look around you. See where you are. Now become aware of yourself, of your body. What kind of clothes are you wearing? What feels right? Are you male or are you female? Are you young or are you old? Become very familiar and aware of this new body. Now go to the place where you live in this new body, the place where you eat and where you sleep. Stand in front of that place. What does it look like from the outside? Now go inside this place where you live. See what rooms are there. See where you cook your food. Now see yourself eating a meal. What type of food are you eating? Is there anyone sitting with you, around you, eating with you? Is there anyone living with you in this place? You will see them with you now. You will be able to identify their connection with you. See if anyone is sitting with you. Now, leave that scene. I want you to see what it is you do. How do you spend the majority of your time? Do you have a job, a trade? What makes up the majority of your time during the day? See yourself doing it now. Now, leave that scene and move to an important day, a day that you consider to be important when something is happening. We're moving to an important day. You're there now. What's happening? What do you see? Notice the event of this important day. Look around and notice who's with you, what's happening, what you're experiencing. Now leave that scene and move forward again to another important day. Another day when something is happening that you consider to be important. You've gone to another important day. What's happening? What is going on? What do you see? Now, leave that scene, and I want you to move forward to the last day of the life in this lifetime we're looking at. The last day of your life in this lifetime that we're looking at. We'll see what happens to you, and it won't bother you at all. You can watch it as an observer if you want to. We're moving forward to the last day of your life in that lifetime. You can see what's happening to you on that day, on that last day of your lifetime. Now, whatever has happened has already happened, and you're on the other side of it. You're out of the body and on the other side of it. It's already happened. From that position, you can look back at the entire lifetime and see it all from a different perspective. Was there anyone in that lifetime that you know now in your present lifetime? If there is, you will make a connection. Every lifetime has a lesson. Every lifetime has a purpose. As you look at that lifetime, what was the lesson that you learned? What did you learn from that lifetime? Trust anything that comes to your mind. Now we're going to turn around and we're going to come back into this room. I'm going to count to 5, and on the count of 5, you're going to be back in the room, feeling wonderful, remembering everything that you've seen so that you can write it down. It will remain in your memory so that you can write it down. 1, 2, your breathing is speeding up and you're beginning to feel yourself come back to the room. 3, 4, you're continuing to come back to the room, feeling a little bit more alert and awake, gently coming back. 5, welcome back. Please take a moment and write down what you experienced before you forget. And once you finish writing down what you'd like, you can look up and I'll see you in your camera, or you can put a yes in the chat and I'll give you all a couple more seconds and then we can move on. Okay, looks like pretty much everybody's done. So we're going to get wrapped up here so that I can keep you somewhat on schedule. So remember, transformation isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you've always been. Every moment you choose love over fear is victory. And I know we're a little over. If anyone wants to share anything they experienced, please put it in the chat and I will go over that. But for the people that want to get out of here and are on a schedule, I want to get wrapped up so that they don't miss the ending. So basically, I would love to continue supporting you on your journey. You can connect with me at transformandrise.com. And as my gift to you for being here today, I've created about a 5 minute, a little bit over 5 minute staircase of light meditation. It was created as a tool to help you build the beautiful habit of getting silent. And all it takes is 5 minutes a day. So thank you for sharing your beautiful energy with me today. I have enjoyed our conversations and learned from you as well as hopefully taught you something. And remember, you're loved, you're guided, and you are exactly where you need to be. And thank you all again. And I am Kelie Chakowski with Transform and Rise, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you, Kelie.
Thank you. I'm glad you made it. And thank you, Lindsay. Oh, thank you for the hearts, Anna. I hope you enjoyed the regression. It was a little rushed, but I wanted to give you a little taste of what it's like. So I appreciate everything. Thank you, guys.